Ever found yourself eating when you're not hungry or finishing your meal only to realize that you've had too much? Let me tell you, you are not alone. I used to have constant episodes of overeating for a prolonged period of time, stuck in this feeling of guilt for not being able to control myself and fearing that I'm gonna gain weight. Since then, I found multiple ways to combat this, and today I want to share with you the practical tips that worked for me and for my clients as well. By the end of this video, you will be able to stop binge eating in the moment, get more joy from your meals, and eat to your comfortable levels of fullness, which will make you feel proud of yourself and help you get into shape if this is what you're looking for. Let's get into it. Hi, my name is Aliona and I'm a vegan nutrition coach, and I'm also specialized in helping clients get over emotional eating and lose weight sustainably without restrictions. So what is the actual problem with overeating? It's not just one episode of eating a little bit too much. There is a lot of emotional baggage that comes with overeating, feeling guilty for not being able to control yourself around food, feeling like the food has control over you rather than you having control over food, and the fear of gaining weight eventually. So what leads to overeating? As I see, there are three main triggers that we can separate that make us eat more than we really need. The first one is emotional eating. It's when we turn to food for comfort in the end of a stressful day, or after an argument we had with a loved one, or when we feel uncertain about our life situation and feel anxiety around it. We may look for some sense of grounding and comfort in our favorite foods. And to be honest, it's very natural and normal that we do so, because food gives us serotonin, that hormone that improves our mood and lowers the cortisol, the stress hormone. But the problem starts when we start depending on food for giving us that sense of comfort, and any kind of emotions will trigger you to want to eat even though you may not be hungry in the moment. And that would lead you to feel guilty and feeling out of comfort around food, and eventually to overeat to get that comfort, leading to more negative feelings and eventually to eating too much. The second trigger for overeating is often just simply not paying attention. Not paying attention to food or how your body feels. So imagine you are scrolling through social media, watching YouTube video, or reading a book, or simply are out in your thoughts. While you're eating, your mind is somewhere else, so you don't notice how much food you ate, how fast you're eating, and how your body feels in particular. In this case, you may eat too fast and miss those signs that your body tells you that you've had enough food and you don't need any more. And at the same time, you are missing out on pleasure that you were seeking in food, because your mind was just somewhere else and didn't capture the taste, the flavor, the texture of the food. So you may crave to eat more to get those flavors, to get the pleasure from food. And the third reason why you may overeat is missing some nutrients from your meals or generally in your body. If you're lacking some minerals or nutrients or macronutrients like protein, for instance, or fats from your meals, your body will trigger the feeling of hunger just so you get more chances to get those nutrients from food. Now, see, there are actual reasons why you are overeating, and it's not because you are weak-willed, cannot control yourself, or just don't have enough discipline. It's simply because you did not address those three potential triggers. So to stop overeating, you need to figure out which one is the actual trigger for you and tackle that one. Now let's get into the practical steps how you can deal with those triggers and stop overeating at the source. So first of all, let's talk about emotional eating. What are the alternative ways to deal with your emotions that you don't have to look for comfort in food? When we are trying to comfort ourselves with food, we simply are trying to get rid of the feelings that we just don't like within ourselves. For instance, a feeling of anxiety may come with the tension in your belly, in the stomach area, and it just feels unpleasant. So we are trying to comfort really not the anxiety in our heads, but the feelings that we have in our body, or kind of run away from them. So my favorite way to actually deal with the emotions that are not so pleasant and make you want to run away from them is to accept them. I know it doesn't sound easy, but just hear me out. I have a practice that I advise to my clients that come to me with emotional eating, and that is simply to direct your attention to your belly area. Just simply, if you feel that there is some kind of emotion and you want to comfort yourself, just take a moment and sit down and kind of like close your eyes and direct your attention to your stomach or belly area, and just notice what are those sensations that you're feeling there. Where are those sensations? How do they look like? Is it some kind of squeeze or tension or anything else? How would you describe those feelings in your belly? And once you go through that without any mental judgment, you may notice that the feelings will actually go away pretty quickly, and they are not so terrible to try to run away from them. So this is one practice that you can do when you are feeling some strong emotions that it can be difficult to overcome. There are other ways to get some comfort that are more constructive than trying to eat your emotions away, like for instance going for a walk or a workout, journaling, writing down your thoughts, because seeing your thoughts on a piece of paper is very therapeutical. It feels like you kind of get a sense of a reflection of what is in your head. You can also try to talk to someone if you have a person near you that you can be vulnerable with. I find this very powerful, as well as when we are talking to someone, the thoughts that were so terrible may not seem so strong anymore, and it's easy to reflect on them as well. Also, seeking support from a therapist or emotional eating coach can be very helpful to help finding ways to actually support you and find what works for you. Keep in mind to not beat yourself up if you actually overeat. It happens to all of us. It's absolutely normal. The most important thing is to be kind to yourself in those moments. Nothing really happened. You will not gain weight in that moment. It takes repetitive cycle of overeating again and again and again in order to actually gain weight, because remember that gaining 1 kilo of weight takes an excess of 7,000 calories. And 7,000 calories is a lot. So you will not gain weight from one instance of overeating. The best thing that you can do once you overeat is to actually notice it, accept it, and try to understand, why did you overeat? What triggered you to get to this point? Why you were not paying attention to your fullness cues? Were you feeling emotional, or is it something else? So the self-reflection can help you be better next time, to actually be more mindful and to stop this cycle of overeating. Practicing mindful eating can be super powerful. And by mindful eating, I'm not talking about some woo-woo stuff. It's very much practical, and it comes down to actually removing all of the distractions from your surroundings and paying sole attention to your meals. And it may sound boring and it may sound like you are missing out on other activities and eating is just a waste of time. And I totally understand that. But there is such a huge upside to actually paying attention to what you're eating, especially if you tend to overeat. This can help a lot. So when you are sitting down to eat, make sure that your plate is looking nice, the food that you've prepared is tasty and it's up to your standards, and simply pay attention to how you're eating, and what are the flavors, what are the textures of the food, what are the sensations that you have inside of you. How does the food feel? Have you chewed it thoroughly? Try to even close your eyes and notice how the food tastes when you close your eyes. I promise you, you will be mind blown by the difference of how the food tastes with the eyes open and the eyes closed. I was for sure mind blown, and it's just an experience that I would not want to miss. I'm not doing it all the time, it's intense, but I try to do it every once in a while, and I love every time to enjoy my meals fully to the point of getting such a satisfaction from it. Also, notice how much, what is the texture of the food when you are swallowing it? Is it soft or is it still chunky? I've started noticing when I started closing my eyes that the food that I was chewing was actually not chewed properly, so it was still quite chunky, and hence I had bloating. So when you start paying attention fully to your meals, when you start chewing your food slowly and thoroughly, you will also notice that you will feel satisfied faster, that you will enjoy the meals more, and also you will improve the digestion, so your bloating may go away. Any other type of discomfort in your abdominal may also go away, and you may also lose weight because you're eating less food. And while you're eating, also pay attention to how your body feels while you're eating, and try to pose yourself a question: am I still hungry? Do I still have appetite? Not always you will say yes, and it's okay to continue eating. Just keep that in mind that, hey, I'm not hungry right now and I'm choosing to eat a little bit more. But I already know that I'm not hungry. So it's my conscious choice now and not a mindless choice. And the last but not least important is to make sure that you eat balanced meals most of the times, to make sure you get all the nutrients that your body needs in most of your meals, so that your body doesn't crave for anything extra and you don't have to run into overeating. So how do you balance your meals, you would ask? As a vegan, it's a little bit more challenging to strive that balance, so we need to carefully compile each of our meals to actually make sure that we get all of the nutrients that our bodies need. But the most important I would always suggest to my clients is to focus on protein first. It's really, really easy to not get enough protein, and I can see a lot of vegans who come to me have this mistake that they think that they get enough and they don't have to worry about protein, but they actually eat a very small amount for their needs, not meeting their needs. Therefore, their bodies are hungry for more, craving for carbs, and they run into the problem of gaining weight because they consume more as they are not feeling satisfied from their meals. There are also micronutrients that you need to get enough every day, like minerals and vitamins. And the best way to get them without calorie counting or logging your meals is to actually strive to the variety of different whole foods from different groups, like beans, whole grains, vegetables, fruits, greens, nuts, and seeds. And make sure that your meals are colorful. To strive that balance, you may need to take also supplements. Especially if you have deficiencies in certain nutrients. But as a vegan, you most probably need to supplement with vitamin B12 and potentially vitamin D if you don't get enough sun exposure. And the last tip is to drink enough water. I know this sounds dull and everyone talks about this, but hydration is really important to feel satiated. So if you're not drinking enough, you may feel like you're hungry and actually eat more than your body really needs. So make sure you stay hydrated. So today we discussed 3 main triggers for overeating and how you can deal with each of those so that you can stop overeating and finally reach your goals like weight loss and feel good in your body. And those are eating mindfully, addressing your emotions other ways than comforting them with food, and balancing your meals. Remember that overcoming this overeating pattern is just a journey. You may not be perfect from the get-go. You may get back to overeating once in a while, and that is absolutely normal. We all overeat. It's very human to try to comfort ourselves and miss this sense of comfortable fullness. But what matters is how you deal with it comparing to the last time. Are you trying to figure what is the trigger and trying to deal with that trigger? Don't put too much strain on yourself. Just keep going and you will get there. Now, what is your experience with overeating? How have you tried to deal with that? Did it work or not? I would love to hear and chat with you in the comments. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so that I know that this resonates and I can share more videos like this. Thank you so much for staying till the end and for watching this video, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next time.